Hello and happy Krampus night. Hold on. Loki. Baby, was that necessary? As you may know, December 5th is Krampus night, and hopefully you've been very good, or at least passably good, or at least you haven't become absolutely horrible and given up all hope. And if you know what I'm talking about, there are two primary possibilities. And those two possibilities are that you love Scandinavian folklore, which is fantastic, or you like horror stories, and you've seen the movie that came out last year. Now, if that's the case, I have a wonderful treat for you. And I'm kind of hoping that it's the latter, not the former, though I'd love to talk to the rest of you about Scandinavian folklore and all of that later, because it's wonderful. However, TNT has released, actually a few days ago, the top 100 stories submitted to the TNT Horror Competition. Now, this was a really stiff competition just from the get-go. There were over 5,000 stories submitted by the time all was said and done. And now the top 100 are about to be narrowed to the top 35, and that's being done by popular vote. So, what I'd like to ask is if you would be able to help me to get my story, In Darkness Cower, into the top 35 by casting a vote for the first chapter. Now don't worry, you can vote for as many stories as you want, and I strongly encourage you to go through the list, which I'm including down here in the description box. Go through, find some more wonderful stories and read them. You know, I've had a lot of traveling to do, lots of back and forth, lots of waiting time, and these stories have been just incredible to dig into. And I found, actually I haven't really found any particularly bad stories in the whole bunch. There's some very familiar concepts that are being worked with, but most of them have a great new spin. Some of them are found footage style, some of them are mythic, urban folklore, and others are just straight up hammerfest. So I strongly encourage you to go through, find some great stories, add them to your library, and by all means vote. If you can, cast your vote before 11:59 p.m. December 6th at Greenwich Mean Time. And I do hope that that is the proper pronunciation of that. That's one of those words, anyway, I tend to mispronounce words, and that's one I have a hard time with. But my story in this competition is In Darkness Cower. And this is a story that I was a little bit iffy about sharing. I had actually written it for another anthology. And it's a very personal story to me because one of the things that I have struggled with as far back as I can remember are these incredibly vivid nightmares. And part of it is because I struggle with chronic pain. And sometimes, as the doctor has informed me, your body, when you're in pain, your body tries to find creative ways to explain why you're in pain while you're sleeping, and mine is phenomenal at creating monsters. So, I often have incredibly vivid nightmares. Now, it's gotten better since I've gotten older, though I still have dreams about like this a couple times a week, and that's okay. They make incredible story fodder. But this is the first time I've done a story that has actively engaged with that topic, and it's all about this woman, Theda, whose nightmares are more vivid than her real life. In fact, she has nightmares that are so bad it's really compromising her ability to function in day-to-day life. And then, joy of joys, lucky, lucky girl, she is informed the nightmares are real. Oh, don't you just... Isn't that just what you want to hear? That your nightmares, not your daydreams, are real. And so she has to find a way to deal with them. And the only way that she can deal with them, as she is informed, is she has to keep her eyes closed. Now, this is very much drawn from one of my deepest fears as a kid, because I just remember feeling so defenseless and so helpless. And I wanted to capture that feeling in the story of being in the presence of this total malevolence or totally apathetic. They don't particularly care whether she, care much about her at all except to destroy her. And it's not overly nuanced in terms of morality. Well, there is one question, but not particularly. So, this story, all these creatures are from my nightmares, though not exactly in the dreams. And yes, I have had some questions about whether or not that initial image of the dream of the acidic earth that's eating the coffin and she's handless and trying to get out. Yes, I have had that nightmare multiple times. I actually toned it down a little bit. But anyway, so if you just want a story that's kind of scary, and if you want to get a little bit of an insight into my internal psyche, well, I guess there you go. But regardless, it was really good to write this story, to get it down. I've found that by writing about these types of dreams, it sort of reduces their power, because then when I see them again, it's easier to recognize that they're a dream and to realize, okay, this pain in my stomach, there's not something that's ripping its claws across my back and my stomach. It's just a lesion that I probably kind of, that's just a little bit raw. Maybe I kind of rolled on it the wrong way. So that's great. So in a sense, it's cheaper than therapy. But it's just good to have this story done, and I'm so excited. No matter what happens, I would absolutely love to have this story make it to the top 35 and then go on to the top 10 and obviously to become the grand prize winner. But regardless of what happens, it's going to be great. I have plans for this. I'm going to continue the story. If TNT doesn't take this story, I'm continuing it. I love Theta's character, and the stranger who shows up, I know all about him, and I know exactly how I can connect it into the larger universe of the other stories I'm writing. So I'm happy either way. But I would appreciate it if you would go ahead and vote. So, alright, I think that's it. So, have a very lovely Krampus night. I do hope you make it to the morning. And in the meantime, why don't you tell me what your favorite horror story is? So feel free to like, subscribe, and comment if you would, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.